Hey, हम दोनों एक ही पॉडकास्ट सुनते हैं यार.
आधा इंडिया यही पॉडकास्ट सुनता है.
Welcome to Hasina Thi. My name is Abbas. That was my co-host Urjita, and that quote, that very popular quote, is from a movie, an even popular movie called Ek Hasina Thi from 2004, which is the movie we're discussing today. Urjita, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, yesterday we had
I'm in my Hasina phase right now.
Ooh, wow, okay. Let's hope it doesn't end this the way it did for Urmila in this film. But welcome to the show, and I don't know why I'm welcoming you. The point I was trying to make is yesterday we recorded an episode with a guest where the guest was doing back-to-back recordings, and today you're doing back-to-back recordings. So we are hustling clearly.
Talking too much.
Podcasting is on the rise in India, guys.
Yeah.
We're discussing Ek Hasina Thi from 2004, directed by Sriram Raghavan, starring Urmila Matondkar and Saif Ali Khan, and a lot of other people who we will mention. And in the studio to talk about Ek Hasina Thi with us is Instagram influencer. That's a claim that he wants to stick to. He doesn't want to, he doesn't want to be introduced as anything else.
Yeah, man.
He goes by @Karan_Mir on Instagram, and he has some really cool character bios and little trivia and a lot of info about movies in general, but Bollywood movies in particular. And we've enjoyed his page a lot in the recent past, and he's someone who claims to be a fan of the show. So we'll find all of that out.
Big fan.
I don't know why I'm intimidating you.
Yeah.
Please welcome to the show, Karan Mirchandani. Yay.
Am I going to get quizzed on like
Of course, yes.
has it aged well lore?
He's
You're
here
gonna
because we are a big fan of his page.
Yes.
We-
Our well of comedians has dried up, guys.
Why
No.
would you do that? इधर comedians लोग जिनको नहीं बुला रहे वो message करेंगे.
Karan, we very much wanted to have you on the show.
Thank you.
I know
I'm honestly very excited to talk about a 2004 Saif film
Yeah.
where he stalks someone, he creeps on someone, he makes this girl very uncomfortable, and eventually drives her insane. But enough about Hum Tum. We're talking about that's not the movie we're here for.
He's written bits. I like it.
I've got bits and everything.
Yeah.
No, but I'm just this is important for me because this is a Saif era that I love.
Yeah.
So like this from 2001 onwards to like 2006-07 is when I feel like people became Saif fans. People I don't think before that people were like I don't know who this guy is.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting to see what he's doing with this like
Era.
of it. And he's doing like rom-coms and then randomly this film. So
All right. So we'll find out more about Ek Hasina Thi and Karan and his obsession with movies on the other side of this break. Before we go into a break, if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it with someone who you think will enjoy it. And if you're listening to us on an audio platform, please rate and review us. We'll see you right after this break.
Hi, this is Cyrus Rogan Brocha, pyar se Rogues. I've come up with a brand new idea. It's a premium product called Club Cyrus Says. It's an offer open just for you. Let me tell you about the product. We've got exclusive Cock and Bull episodes just for you. That's right, just for you. That means others don't get to see it. Also, you get exclusive footage, extra bits, the uncut version of the interviews with celebrities. And these are huge celebrities, not small-time celebrities. Only the big guys come on the show. So you'll get the exclusive bits that nobody else gets. The extra tidbits, special stuff, uncensored stuff you don't want to put out. That's just for you. And for our audio listeners, you get special ad-free content and early access to interviews and sessions and podcasts which nobody else will get. You'll get it first. You're the first people. You're Neil Armstrong. You're Edmund Hillary. You're whoever discovered India. You're that. And by becoming an exclusive member of Club Cyrus Says, you get the power. We transfer the power to you and you become the producers and you will decide what content or what happens on that show. You are the masters and we can't use words like that. People who work for the masters, basically. So guys, get in. Special audio features include, I forget. I can't remember what the hell.
And we're back on Has It Aged Well with Urjita and our guest, Karan. So before we get into Ek Hasina Thi, we kind of spoke about this a little bit off air. But it's not a movie that's like really out there. Like even though Sriram Raghavan has got like a resurgence in the last couple of years because of Andhadhun.
And also Badlapur actually.
Also Badlapur. And his brother has been writing like Pathan and these really
all
big,
good
big
cinema,
movies.
all good cinema.
We don't judge. Actually, we do judge. That's precisely what this show is. But Ek Hasina Thi 2004 despite having Urmila Matondkar and Saif, who were big names back then, it's still a very, very like truly cult film that not a lot of people know.
Yeah.
So Urjita, what are your first memories of Ek Hasina Thi? So confession, I saw it last night for the first time.
Same.
I hadn't seen Ek Hasina Thi before. Where do you remember the first time hearing about this or seeing about this film? Do you have
I
early
think
memories?
on your Instagram page only.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sometime. It was either you or some other niche influencer,
Right.
movie reviewer type. I follow many such
I heard
people.
niche. I heard it.
Yeah.
I heard it, right? She said it, right?
So yeah, I think I read about it somewhere online, and I was really intrigued, but then not like intrigued enough to check it out immediately. I was like, it's there on my list. I'll watch it someday, and but I checked it out because of Has It Aged Well, and man, what a ये क्या सही pacing है यार मूवी का. मैंने एक भी बार फोन नहीं उठाया.
Yeah.
कितना सही है पूरा, literally the 2 hours 38 minutes का जो duration है.
No, it's 2 hours 14.
14.
Did I get an edited version?
14.
Yeah, it's 2 hours 14.
I think 2 hours 14. But there was like the Prime version on Prime. It's quite cut. Like
Really?
yeah, they're like anytime it jumps to like a violent bit or any intimate scene, they just cut ahead a little.
Which is fine because Bollywood intimate scene's not good anyway.
Yeah.
You don't enjoy the
skip.
weird necking things that they were doing.
No.
I was like, what is this? Like,
See, if the movie, it really depends. I want to watch it separately, not right now when I'm, मैं काम कर रही हूँ अभी नहीं. So for
Dude,
me,
early
it's that.
2000s, all Bollywood films with a love triangle had a template poster. It was the guy necking one of the two girls he's interested in, and the other girl's blown up faces in the background laughing.
yeah.
I don't know why that was a thing.
ये
कुछ
कोई
कुछ
movie
होता
का
है,
poster नहीं देखा है
कुछ
मैंने,
होता है,
ये
बस
क्या है?
यूं ही, बस एक पल. All of
Really?
them have the same template.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh God, Basik Pal.
Yes.
Holy that's a deep cut. No one, I don't think anyone saw that film.
So Karan, before we come to Ek Hasina Thi, tell us what, how did you get obsessed with movies and why do you do what you do on Instagram? Because not many people are doing that. Because Bollywood is considered as like floozy popcorn entertainment. Not many people go behind the thought process and the making. So when did you start doing this and how did you get there?
Oh, I mean, like the obsession with movies is just like a kid thing. I think every Sunday we used to go watch a movie. Like it was just a family thing to do.
And you grew up in Pune?
Grew up in Pune.
Okay.
So every Sunday we were watching some movie, and because of the volume, like if you're going every week, you're watching some horrible films, right? Like the stuff that's coming out weekly. Like I've gone seen Rudraksh in the theaters. So like
Oh, you have.
Sanjay Dutt,
Sanjay,
Aishwarya.
yeah. So like that kind of volume and appreciation, and then for a while I kind of was like, no, I'm better than Bollywood.
Right.
I'm gonna watch these Hollywood films.
Rudraksh for the first film where Aishwarya did a sex scene. Just throwing trivia.
Wait,
out there.
Aishwarya's not.
Yeah,
She's not in
Ashwarya's not
Rudraksh.
in Rudraksh.
Who's in
Bipasha
Rudraksh?
Basu is there in
Bipasha is in
Rudraksh.
You're
Rudraksh?
thinking of a different Sanjay Dutt movie, which is
Am I
with,
thinking of Shab?
Shab,
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
You're thinking of
That's Shab.
with
yeah.
Zayed Khan and
My bad.
yeah.
Going back to Rudraksh.
Yeah, I just remember like the reason I remember Rudraksh is like I remember my dad.
Because of Bipasha's sex scene.
Yeah, well, there's a much. It was much worse than sex because it was like this air massage scene.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know the air massage.
Reiki,
He's doing this,
yeah.
and my dad was like, "Yo, we're leaving. We're leaving now. We can't stick around for this." So I remember that. And there's this all
Your
these.
dad got disappointed because they were not touching.
But then he took you back
Sorry,
for
Dad, if you watch this.
he took you back for a movie next week anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what was
It
it,
was
murder?
volume. It was volume. But I remember for some reason Ek Hasina Thi we didn't see in theaters because I remember around then the multiplex I used to go to, they started this thing where they weren't letting kids in if it was an adult film.
Okay.
It was very
As they
brief run.
should.
No. Well,
They
okay.
started
You're
this-
saying
Agree
it
to
is
disagree.
starting this ridiculous
This
thing.
ridiculous, this horrible thing where they were ruining my
Where a
childhood.
movie not for kids, they wouldn't let kids allow.
I mean, you say that kids should have sex education, so why wouldn't they
Yeah.
let me watch murder
Rudraksh.
or kya masti, kya cool hai hum?
So then my parents did the very responsible thing where we rented out the DVD. So,
Right.
Nice.
we were like, screw it, why not?
Checkmate.
Checkmate,
multiplex.
yeah. We'll watch this adult film with weird scenes in it. But yeah, like I've always had that. And then over time, I just realized like I also did a podcast that was like we were reviewing 2000s Bollywood films, right? We were doing all
Okay.
that. And like, I think just from there, we realized, like my friend and I realized, oh, we are obsessed with this. Like we just like breaking down things. And
Wait a minute, you're telling me you used to do a podcast with your friend where you used to rewatch old films
Yeah.
from the early 2000s.
and I'm here to
judge,
sue.
And judge.
This is the plot twist. I'm here to sue you.
But out of curiosity, what was your podcast called?
Bad in Bollywood.
Okay, and is it still available? Like,
It's still on Spotify
okay.
and stuff.
Okay, we'll put the link in the description.
Yeah, we did like 69 episodes. Don't ask why we stopped
Of
there.
course,
It's fine.
yeah.
But
Was the 69th one Rudraksh though?
no, we did Jism actually.
Ooh, nice.
Because we had,
Good choice.
obviously, right? You got
Yeah,
to
of
end on
course.
that.
You were close.
Yeah. it was actually
Okay.
good. But yeah, since then I realized that I also have a positive outlook on all these movies. Like my thing is always trying to look for the good
Right.
and stuff. So that's where all that writing about these films came from.
Yeah.
Right, so I think.
But that's such a rare thing because of the internet. Majority of internet, I think, is about negativity. Like
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
in great films, people want to find the bad things. So I think, yeah.
The way you do, yeah.
Look, I
Yeah,
mean,
as I was saying, I was like, wait, I am that guy on this
he
show.
didn't like chup chup ke.
oh, okay, well.
Wait a
that's-
minute, what chup chup ke or chup chup ke?
Chup chup ke.
Because they're mute in the film, so I thought it was called chup chup ke.
It's
Wait,
chup
which one
chup
are we
ke,
talking
right?
about? Are
The
we talking
Shahid
Chori
Kapoor,
Chori
Kareena
Chup Chup
Kapoor.
Ke or-
No, the
Shahid Kapoor,
the
Kareena
Rajpal
Oh,
Yadav.
yeah.
That's chup chup ke,
Okay,
right?
I also didn't like that. I also didn't like that. It was
Wow,
fine.
my comeuppance has come, Urjita. You're
You
in
didn't
the...
like that
It had
She
some
movie?
gave it
strong
a,
points.
She gave it a 9 out of 10, dude.
Oh,
Yeah.
look, I need to rewatch it. It's
Okay.
been, I saw it in
Yeah.
theaters and then I never saw it again.
Cool.
So.
All right.
Yeah.
So it just purely comes out of the love for movies.
Yeah. I
Alright.
think it's just like watching that many, it becomes a part of just who you are.
Okay.
And then you're like, okay, this must be good.
All
If
right.
I'm wasting this much time.
So did you watch Ek Hasina Thi on a DVD with the
I
family?
did. I did see it on
Okay.
a DVD.
All right.
I don't remember it. I remember just being exhausted as a kid watching it. Like, it's weird because it's such a short film.
Right.
But it's so overwhelming for a kid to be seeing all that stuff. You're like,
Yeah.
what is this? What
You
are they
don't.
doing?
First of all, you don't relate to half of the things.
Yeah, you're
happening
like,
in the
oh,
movie.
they're all a bit messed up. What,
Yeah.
what are they
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but now rewatching is quite interesting.
All right.
Looking back on
And
it.
also, now I understand. So while I was watching the movie, I realized that in the beginning, जब भी सैफ अली खान उसको पटाने की कोशिश कर रहा है, बैकग्राउंड म्यूजिक क्रीपी रखा है.
Yeah.
And I was wondering कि यार creepy समझ में आ रहा है वो creepy है, म्यूजिक की क्या जरूरत है? And then I realized कि oh no, you replace the creepy with romantic and it will just be any other rom-com.
This is exactly what I thought.
Right.
So that's why I think the casting is perfect because they're taking a rom-com hero. He's taking the quintessential rom-com hero of that
Yeah.
year.
This is Saif post Kal Ho Na Ho, post Hum Tum.
Yeah, I think Hum Tum releases later or something,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
he was shooting
Okay,
for it at the
sure.
whatever.
Yeah.
And it is taking that guy and saying, if we just switch things a little, this is a horror. This is
Yeah.
like a thriller.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is
yeah.
creepy.
This guy followed Shah Rukh Khan's advice from Kal Ho Na Ho better than Saif Ali Khan in Kal Ho Na Ho.
I feel like this is Saif. I genuinely did think this, that Saif's actions towards Urmila are very like Saif when he's doing the Chedin Ladki and stuff.
Yeah.
Chhe din ladki in lockup.
Jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Straight up. Yeah, like he's doing a lot of these like, the negging and all this stuff.
Right.
That was a joke in Kal Ho Na Ho. It's quite
Right.
serious in this. And I wonder if, because Sriram Raghavan said in an interview that he did always consider Saif for this, even though I saw something about them looking at Shah Rukh for this role.
Yeah, that's what the
Shah Rukh would have also been.
trivia
That
page
would-
says on IMDb that he was offered the role.
But
yeah.
what Sriram Raghavan says that he always kind of pictured Saif for this,
Okay.
which makes there's a like all of these things that he says are very things that like I could almost picture Sameer saying or like Rohit saying, but with romantic music, as
Yeah.
Urjita said.
Yeah.
So like, yeah.
Right. So we'll come to Saif and the darker roles he's played over the years because I also have opinions about that. I saw it last night for the first time. And right off the bat, the music they use for the opening credits also is this very dark classical music sort of thing going. So the first like half an hour, I was like, bro, vibes. Like, why are we not making this cinema anymore? Like early 2000s. And the thing that for the first half an hour, 45 minutes, the film just keeps you on the edge.
Yeah.
It's,
Oh,
anything
man.
can happen. Something is going to go wrong.
Pacing is crazy, man.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that in Bollywood in a long time. The pacing.
Yeah, exactly. So
Too
I was
good.
like, something is gonna go wrong, and I just realized. So we've actually covered quite a few Urmila films on our
Yeah,
show.
Urmila.
We did Satya, we did Bhoot very recently, and at the time of recording at least, and now we're doing what's the film you're covering? Bus, not Bus Ekpal, Ek Hasina Thi.
But okay, just to make cut in,
Yeah.
I'm saying you guys are covering a very specific genre, which is
Right.
Urmila moves into an apartment and things go wrong.
Yeah.
This is like its own genre.
Yeah.
Urmila moves into an apartment in Bombay and everything goes to
Goes
shit.
wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah,
So-
she met RGV when she moved into that apartment. He's like, you
It's
know
a
what?
metaphor.
Can we do this again and again and again in every movie?
So I think she's really great at playing on the edge.
Oh yeah.
Because she does that, and then you add Saif to that, this was the first time he went that dark in an like purely playing a all-out negative role.
Yeah.
I should mention this is the feature debut for Sriram Raghavan. It's produced by Ram Gopal Varma, which I think is very important because his fingerprints are all over the film. It's at times I've thought it was more of a Ram Gopal Varma film than a Sriram Raghavan film, as he would make later. So for 45 minutes, I was like, bro, pure vibes. I'm feeling it. I'm unsettled. I am also not checking my phone and everything. And then then the film becomes Orange is the New Black, where you have this extended period where you show the prison sequence and everything, which
Yeah.
also is very well done.
Very well, and great female characters,
Yes.
man.
It does feel like a
And-
different movie though.
Yeah.
And but while even उधर का भी pacing बहुत सही था. I was on board with
I was
that.
on board, yes.
I also like couldn't see what it is leading up to. I was just hoping कि अच्छा क्या होगा. I was still invested in कि अच्छा but Saif ने उसको क्यों फंसाया? There must be a reason. So I was trying to look for it, and that's the only flaw I could think of.
I
कि-
think
Okay.
yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that though, because I watched a Saif interview where he was talking about Ek Hasina Thi, one of the rare, like there's barely there. But he was asked like, I think he was doing an interview with Mayank, who's on this.
Yes.
who was- yeah,
On
I
the
know,
Jo
I know
Jeeta
my-
Wahi Sikandar
I know my
episode.
lord. See, hey, do I get points for this? But it was an interview with him, and he asked him like, hey, what happened in the second half of Ek
Right.
Hasina Thi? And he was like, Sriram Raghavan does this thing where he likes writing in a way where he paints himself into a corner. And then, so that's what he writes. Then after that, he's like, oh, I'll figure out how to get out of this. I'll get to a dead end, and then I'll figure out how to write my way out of this. And sometimes the answer to that question isn't satisfying. So that's why you get a tight, like 45 minutes an hour, because that's the crux of the story that he's
Right.
thought of. And then the rest of it's a bit like, okay, what
An
are we doing?
afterthought. Yeah.
It's interesting that you bring that up because Sriram Raghavan in his interview, he also mentioned that I don't know why people like the second half of the movie. I didn't like it.
Yeah, even I didn't like
Yeah.
the
same.
last third of the film.
Yeah. I skipped through the chase sequence.
Me and Sriram are vibing like great minds think alike. It's true.
Yeah. So,
Because the last act of the film is essentially it becomes a revenge film then.
but
And
it was not a revenge well done. Like
exactly,
barring
except for the
last
climax.
Scene,
The
the
last
climax
scene
was great.
is deadly. But the build up to that, I didn't quite feel it because there's so many questions like where is she getting the money to fund herself from going from here to there and all of that. We'll come to all of that.
Do
Yeah.
you want to recap the movie?
Sure.
Okay,
So, Ek Hasina Thi is about a young girl a young middle class girl who's working in Bombay. She lives away from her parents, and right off the bat, we are shown that she deals with creepy men on a regular basis because is it her landlord who's
No,
her
neighbor.
neighbor is creeping up on her, trying to bring things when she doesn't need them and all of that, and she happens to bump into Saif Ali Khan on a day, the regular day. And she also treats him as the regular creep kind of thing until he does which he is
Let's be
in
clear.
this film. And then he does the typical Bollywood thing of saving her from goons, and they kind of start seeing each other and everything. And then at a point where they start dating, Saif's character says that my friend's gonna come over. I'm gonna be traveling for business, and a friend is gonna come over. Can you just entertain him for a few hours? She's like, cool. And the friend shows up, and he's like, he's also creepy in a very weird way. And he's like, I'm going to leave a bag here and go take care of some business. And while he's away, she sees on the TV that the guy was a gangster and he was gunned down by the police. But the bag is still here. And she gets a call from Saif saying, did he leave anything? I didn't know about his underworld connections. Jo bhi ho jaye, mera naam mat lena, okay? So far, so great. I was like, oh, fuck, this is like really there. So she takes blame for the whole thing, ends up in prison. Then we go through the whole ordeal of her being in prison. And all the while, Saif sends a lawyer who just keeps...
Oh my God. Can I just say that lawyer, because he's a CID, say na? Abhijit.
Yes, Abhijit.
Abhijit.
Yeah.
So I love those bits. Those were almost like comedic bits to me because it was like the worst advice ever. He would be like, hey, just admit to this. Hey, just do this. So first she gets put in lockup for like 3 weeks. Then the
Right.
second time he gives her advice and he's like, just admit you're guilty. What's the problem? jail for 7 years. I was like, why are you listening to this person, dude?
And but also at the same time, I could understand why she was agreeing to everything. Because honestly, अगर कोई यार एक तो first of all as humans we cannot resist authority and uniform. I know this sounds very wrong, but that is literally the way you say it. And
Yeah.
He looked
So which
nice.
is
He
why-
looked nice in it. Yeah.
so
I just want to say his
So-
name is the actor's name is Aditya Srivastav because there's been an older episode where we just called him Abhijit throughout the
Yeah.
episode.
so
yeah.
so I can understand ki why she got fooled, because see, first of all, you're in a vulnerable situation,
Right.
and this is like this is her only way out. So
But I wanted to ask this question to both of you. How much would you simp for your boyfriend or your girlfriend?
utna
That
Oh, man.
exactly, right?
it
At
depends
some
on how
point-
long I have known him for.
But and I want to know, Urjita, because you're the only girl on this podcast. Like, I mean, I don't know. My female friends have told me that when a girl falls in love with someone, they are way more dedicated to that person, and
Oh, of course.
they will actually literally just like go to any lengths to keep that person with them. Is that what they're channeling here? Okay, even though she's literally in jail, almost taking the blame for something she didn't do, just because she's in this vehem ke, but this guy will come back and free me, I'll just go ahead with it.
No, sometimes it's also about the situation you are in. Like यहाँ पे even though उसके लिए इतना लगाव नहीं होगा, but just because he has this, she's under that impression that he's doing everything for her.
Right.
He's getting a lawyer for her. Her own parents, they can't do anything. So of course she's like, oh, he's putting in so much effort. So of course he knows better. Like, see, when you're vulnerable, no, I don't know about boys, I'm talking about girls. When you're in that vulnerable position, you have this emotion कि अभी जो भी मुझे राह दिखाया मैं चलूंगी उस पे. I don't care, मैं अपना दिमाग नहीं लगाने वाली.
I also
So-
think it's a bit because he gifts her these expensive things, so she kind of feels like she owes him a little bit.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, definitely that
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
What
I
do you
think-
think, Karan?
I think that, I mean, I kind of agree with Urjita on this, because I don't think at any point it's like he's left her. He's still taking steps even though he's not there. That in her mind, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
he sent
And
his
he's
lawyer.
coming to meet her.
He calls her. He calls
But that's
her
much
and-
later.
Yeah. So I think that first time when, the judge is like, okay, you're in custody for
Right,
3 weeks
yeah.
because you've been seen with this person, then I feel like that could have been a breaking point,
Okay.
maybe, potentially. And then when the lawyer comes again and says like, admit your guilt. And even prior to that, there's a scene, I think, which is a heartbreaking scene. It's so well done. The scene where she meets her parents across the
Oh, yeah,
I
was
thought that was
very
such
well
a,
done.
Yeah.
because it wasn't like, she had like a lot of time with them and they're sitting aram se baithe hue, there's like, no, it's like this chaos and
Yeah.
she can't even get her
Yeah.
word across because they're so loud.
Yeah.
Because in Hollywood films we see the whole talking on the phone with a glass in
Yeah.
between. I'm like,
Yeah.
India में यार regular लोगों के पास phone नहीं है, वो जेल
And
में कहाँ
there
देंगे
was no
उनको?
sane voice around her to tell
Exactly.
her कि ये
Yeah.
जो भी हो रहा है गलत हो रहा है.
Yeah.
And we have seen that happen in our friend circles also, where you just see like this boy, he just cuts this girl out of her friend groups and all. That is typically what people do, right?
I did
Like
that
if you
once,
want to-
Urjita, okay? It's like you don't have to bring it up on a podcast.
So if you that's the thing, right? वो बोलते हैं ना लोग कि until and unless you share the toxicities in your family or in your relationships with other people, you don't know how crazy they are until somebody tells you that this is crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
So and also I feel, which is why the friend wala scene must have been shown, just to show कि she literally has no other support.
The friend.
Parents आते हैं या वो friend आती है
Right.
और वो भाई को लेके
Yeah,
आती है.
played by Shiba Chadda. That role was
Yeah.
actually offered to Antara Mali and
Yes.
didn't happen. I want to ask about the Seema Biswas role, the female cop, who we see going from her being a regular cop, not believing our protagonist, to by the end almost becoming like a confidant of sorts.
Yeah.
Why do you think that character was important in the film? Is she like again that arc of her from not believing her to becoming a confidant, that's supposed to reflect like our sort of sympathies in some way? Or I would like to know why you guys
I'm not
thought
sure.
she was
I
there.
actually didn't, because Seema Biswas is incredible.
Right.
And but in this, I just felt like I don't
She didn't have much to do.
There's not much to do.
Yeah, like I felt like the Pratima, right? The
Oh,
the
yeah,
gangster's
right,
wife who
right.
helps her. I
Yeah.
feel like if that character was not there,
Pratima
and,
Kazmi.
yeah, and because that character is the one, no, Pratima उसको realize
was
करवाते
great.
कि तेरा चूतिया काट रहा है.
हाँ.
So उसकी जगह अगर वो character नहीं होती and if Seema Biswas would have done that, then it would have made sense.
As the cop?
As a cop.
Okay.
कि
Yeah.
मतलब maybe ऐसे instead of if the Pratima character is not in the picture, then maybe she could have said तुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. Maybe after the court hearing जब वो admit करती है. So it could have been just one exchange where she's like नहीं किया ना तूने. And she would have been like मैंने नहीं किया तो क्यों बोला. वो जो भी बोल रहा है तू सुने जा रही है. Lawyers का सब सुनना नहीं रहता है. ऐसा कुछ भी अगर वो बोलती तो भी I feel that would have been impactful. Like Seema as a woman, she can see what's happening with her, or even just the camera angles. कि जब भी उर्मिला बात कर रही है, so then we show like Seema Biswas के perspective से कि what the fuck is happening. So
The cops in this film are fucking scary though. I was like, if I was ever caught with these cops, I would shit my pants.
I think that was part of it, right? Like feeling her despair. Like I think that's what Seema Biswas, the role plays. That is that Urmila has no one that believes her, and that despair really ramps up because Seema Biswas is like, no, I know you did it. What else did you do? You know, and then her telling the parents also like, of course she did it. She accepted all those gifts. Like, she was clearly working with the underworld because she can't afford these things.
Right.
She tells the parents that also. Right. So I think it just added to the stakes of like, oh God, what is she gonna do?
Yeah. At one point, the one of the cops asks her father, "How much do you make?" And he says 9,000. And he says, "तुम्हारी बेटी को 12,000 12,000 में कहाँ मिल रहा है बॉम्बे में घर?" Even in 2004.
Yeah.
Even if you adjust for inflation, it's fairly cheap. I would like, and they're living in Andheri apparently. Andheri house is not that cheap.
Yeah.
I just wanted to put it out there.
I wanted to ask something about Saif's
Yes.
kind of role. Like early on, you know, there's that scene where because he creeps her out, then he has to do this thing where he saves her, right? He goes and gets the purse.
Yeah.
Then again, this is like a cycle. He creeps her out again. Then again, he jumps in and saves her like twice. So how much of that was staged by him? Like, what is the extent of this? Like, how is he doing this? And why is he doing it is the other thing. One, why is he trying to trap her? And two, I didn't...
Just for the suitcase?
Yeah, because in the car he says that, you know, they were hired goons. He tells her and he laughs, and because you never know if he's telling the truth or not.
Yeah. So are you asking me if I believe whether they were hired or not?
Yeah.
They were it was staged.
They were hired.
Yeah,
it was staged,
because
right?
it's like उसको time नहीं है ना उतना रुकने का. See, if this was Delhi, then I would have still believed that this is not staged.
Okay.
But this is Mumbai, so.
But yeah, I guess that just to touch upon that really quick is like, yeah, okay, if it was staged, to what end?
Can I make my argument why I think it was staged? It's because of the sequence of events, okay? He sends her a parcel, which she ignores. Then he continuously calls her at work and at home, and she doesn't pick up the phone.
Correct.
And then you see this happening. So him being very conveniently present right when she's leaving, even though I think it's implied that she's leaving later than usual that day because she asks the peon to lock up or whatever.
Correct.
And before that, I think in a scene we see her leave the office with her friend. So it's implied that that's the regular time she leaves at, but she's staying back late working. Maybe I'm reading too much between the lines, but it's implied that she's staying back late and asking the guy to shut the office, and she goes out and there are goons and very conveniently Saif is present there. So I think that implies that he planted them there just so that he can show up and save her and sort of.
Yeah, but like I agree with that.
Right.
But also like at what point do you decide I'm going to use this person for that bag or whatever?
Okay,
yeah,
so
just for that bag. They never explained that.
Again, I have filled up that backstory in my head. And this is my version of it.
Okay.
That we also see him in the second half sleeping with other women, right? So somehow, somewhere, either him or one of his fellow gangsters was scouting who's the most vulnerable person we can trap. And Urmila's character just happened to be in that, and it's like, ये एक बहुत simpleton है, इसको फंसा सकते हैं. And they never imagined that she'll come out this completely changed woman who will take revenge. That's the version I filled up in my. And then he must have done this with other women also. The other women he's sleeping with.
Yeah.
That's what I.
Maybe she was meant to do like a bigger job.
Yeah.
But ये fuck हो जाता है तो इसलिए.
Are we ever told what was in the suitcase that he leaves behind?
Okay, this comes to like, there's a bigger question here, right? What does Saif do? Like, what is like, this is, I checked Wikipedia, I was like, kya, matlab, what is I'm not saying ki, you know, LinkedIn pe job title kya uska, like, but I'm just asking like, what is the function of this shady thing that he's doing? Is he smuggling? Is it money laundering? Like, I think it implies there's some money laundering thing.
I think
because
so.
They're giving him a lot of money to like get... Because there's some reference to Bilal having 3 companies and
Okay, I missed that.
second hand some.
But
like,
I remember he just makes a call and it's like, "2 crore bhej dena," and then he just has it. And I'm like, dude, that means whatever channels they have of exchanging money,
Yeah.
it's fairly quick.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But that bag, answering your question, that bag, it had money, passports.
Gun.
Oh, really?
a gun, couple guns.
Yeah,
Okay.
a couple of guns.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I missed that.
Yeah.
Do you have a theory of why Saif chose Urmila's character?
Innocent. Very innocent. And also, another thing that I noticed, that this was my takeaway, that basically I feel like the movie is supposed to be like, bolte hai na, so you know how people say that if a girl is, calling somebody out in the workplace or just outside, that this person is weird, making me feel uncomfortable, people are always like, you're making a scene. And this actually happens. This doesn't happen in movies. This has happened with me also.
Right.
Somebody has told me, don't make a scene. So even though I didn't like make a scene, I just like told somebody in confidence that this boy is making me feel uncomfortable, and a few other girls also. That person was like, okay, fine, we'll see. Usne kuch kiya to nahi na. So I feel like this movie is a clear example of what happens when you don't make a scene when you should.
Moral of the story, guys, from Urjita.
And also, like, you don't need to be a people pleaser. Like, what happens when you're too much of a people pleaser and you just, I know, I'm not like victim blaming her for being innocent.
right.
I'm just saying that it's fine to come across as a bitch sometimes.
All right, cool. At this point, we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll discuss a little more about Ek Hasina Thi, Saif's darker roles that he has done, which I'm a big fan of. We'll find out what Urjita and Karan think, and Sriram Raghavan and what we think about him, and of course the alternate ending segment. So we'll see you on the other side of this break. Hey, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On Cyrus Says, Cyrus speaks to one of our most celebrated fashion photographers, Atul Kasbekar. He spoke about the time when Cyrus hosted the Kingfisher calendar shoot, how Atul's favorite football team Arsenal has always won when he has watched the match live, his debut as a film producer, and a lot more. On the Habit Coach podcast, Ashton shares how one can set goals and achieve them with simple, actionable habits. On Has It Aged Well, myself Abbas and my co-host Urjita are joined by comedian Siddharth Shetty to discuss the most memed Rajpal Yadav film Chup Chup Ke from 2006. We discuss why Bollywood doesn't make madcap comedies anymore and a lot more. On Postcards from Nowhere, Utsav takes us through the stories of the Lord Buddha and how verses from the Arthashastra compare to modern times. And on Pop Rap, Snehil and Antariksh's guest is the very first Indian Idol Abhijit Sawant. They spoke about his life during the reality show and what he's been up to since then. Once again, don't forget to visit our merch store on ivmpodcasts.com. We have some exciting stuff for you. Follow us on social media via IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. If you like our shows, please spread the word, tell your friends, and don't forget to rate and review them wherever you're listening. You'll also find all our shows on youtube.com/IVM Podcasts. And finally, we would like to thank our sponsors this week, Cash Free Payments and HDFC Mutual Fund. Thank you for making this possible. And we're back on Has It Aged Well with Urjita and Karan. Urjita, it's the return of the quiz segment or quiz show.
Yes.
Please throw questions at us and
Yeah.
watch us ace
Yeah.
your...
Yeah, we're gonna kill it. So easy.
Yeah.
So easy.
Yeah. Okay. So for those of you who don't know, for the uninitiated.
Yeah.
Uninitiated.
Yes, it's
Uninitiated,
the correct
no?
Yep, that's the
no?
word.
Yeah.
You got it. You got
Yeah.
it.
So basically, this quiz is just designed to make you fail. So don't feel bad if you don't get any of the questions right.
But we still pass.
And, yeah, sometimes. Okay, and so if you really answer any of the 3 questions that I'm about to pose you, then I'll be a fan.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah,
Wow, the
big fan.
stakes are so high.
Yeah.
What the?
Big fan.
I wasn't told this in advance. Wait 1 second. I need to calm down. Everyone, let's strap in, okay?
Okay, all right. So the first question, okay. Do they have a stove or a gas in the prison's kitchen?
It's a stove.
or a
It's
gas?
a stove, no?
Wait.
Think about it.
Stove
very-
is the
Yeah.
kach.
Yeah.
And what's the other one? The gas is
Gas.
like lighter. se
Fill-
jala
yeah,
jata hai.
lighter.
I think that, so, because I remember it was like when they said the dad died, so they cut to the stove, like the fire.
Ooh.
You remember that? And it was like, oh, this is like because dad ki chita jal rahi hai.
Yeah.
But jump scare, it's not. It's food. So,
Wow.
So yeah, this was
So
a
it
trick
was a
question.
stove.
No,
Yeah.
it was not a stove. Neither.
Yeah, it was neither. It was neither.
वो wood के ऊपर वो
Wood के
आग
ऊपर.
लगाया रहता है
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that, yeah. This was just to check if you
Okay.
remember that
They used
scene.
it as a bonfire cut scene.
Yeah,
Like, it was like a weird.
it was a brilliant scene. So when Urmila ko batata hai your dad is no more, so then you cut to zoomed in shot of that fire,
Okay.
and you feel that okay, Urmila finally gets to visit her
Got
family,
it.
but then you zoom out, wo
Psych.
rotiya
Us
sek
pe roti
rahe
ban
hain.
rahi.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Classic RGV thing to do. Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. But good man, eh?
There's
Yes.
also some scene apparently where a gun turns into a lift panel or something like that, which someone on IMDb wrote, but I couldn't remember the scene.
Oh.
So if you remember, please
Look,
put it in
Ram
the
Gopal Varma
comments.
is very good with lift noises
Yeah.
and stuff. You guys know this. He's
Yeah.
very good at that.
Yeah.
So
Okay, next question. So this is like slightly open-ended,
Okay.
but what is so peculiar about the mice in the climax? So this is like not exactly a movie question. This is like behind the scenes.
I know this.
oh.
Do you know this?
No. I was gonna say like, oh, they want to get in Saif's pants, haha, but no, that's not.
Actually, so a majority of the mice that were used were actually white mice because they are more
Yes.
friendly.
Yeah.
So there was an AD whose little job it was to blacken them with gunpowder so
Yeah.
they seem dirty.
Yes.
And there were some 2 or 3 actual wild rats also used. But the one that goes inside Saif's pants was a mechanical mouse
Yep.
that they used.
No, didn't
So,
give him the
yeah.
real thing.
Yeah.
But this is so
Are
weird.
you my fan now, Urjita?
Yeah.
This is
Yeah,
so
this
weird
is too good.
because Saif told a story about like the first film he did. He was gonna do with someone, and the production place like their budget ran out, and there was a scene where like these panthers were supposed to chase this girl,
Okay.
and as they turned the corner, they ran out of budget, so they had dogs instead, and they painted them black. So this is like a theme of Saif's career. Where they're like, oh, this is not really what they're.
Right.
Let's paint over them.
Nice. Okay, so this is like slightly easier.
Okay.
When do you hear this dialogue in the movie and who says this? Bathroom में बकरी काटी क्या?
That guy, when he, I don't know any of their names. They're all a bunch of random goons, okay? But when he goes to that guy's house and he's like, he goes to that office and he's like, मैंने नहीं किया यार खून. In that very Saif.
Wait, whose khoon are they talking about?
He,
The
yeah,
lawyer?
No, Nanda. That guy who's like,
Okay.
you know
Zakir
the
Hussain?
main kill that he does where all those gundas are after him after that. Then,
Right, okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
Zakir Hussain. Yeah.
Zakir Hussain's debut film, by the way.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it just seemed like he was
He
always
was always around.
Like he was
but no.
always the villain. Like he's always sleazy villain dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, that scene, that guy comes. So Saif just leaves, and then he leaves like his blood ka cloth or something he
Got
used
it.
to wash.
Right.
So I don't know his name, but like that guy.
But yeah, it's that
Yes.
scene.
So are you a fan of both of us now?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
each
Yeah,
got
hey.
Both of you,
one
yeah.
question
I think
correct.
this has happened for the first time that both the guest and Abbas, both of you guys answered questions equally, and all 3 questions were answered. So
Right.
I'm happy.
I have a question.
Yeah.
A surprise quiz question.
Will you be our fans if we answer this?
Yes.
as well?
There's a song that plays. So when Urmila is like first moved in, and that creepy neighbor comes in with her clothes, there's a song that's playing on the TV in the background. What song is that?
Yeah.
Is it a Hindi song?
Yeah, it's a popular Hindi song.
Mahive.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes. Abbas is killing it.
Dude, I remember thinking कि oh fuck माही में मतलब कल होना. I could not even
Yeah.
think कि fuck ये कल होना होके time पे आई थी
Exactly,
movie.
yes. So
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of what's playing on TV in films.
Same.
There's even the news snippets that they play on the news
Yeah.
are so reminiscent and nostalgic for early 2000s NDTV because that's what they keep playing. And then there's a clip from a Mahmood film also which is there for a split second,
Yeah.
which I'm not remembering. But I always feel like there is some subliminal, like the director or the filmmaker or writer is trying to say something with what's coming out
With
of the
Sriram,
TV.
I feel like that's true.
Yeah, maybe.
It's-
I don't
yeah.
know. But I wanted to talk about Saif Ali Khan. So this was his first out-and-out negative role. I personally think that Saif Ali Khan was meant to play these roles. It's a tragedy that he happens to be an actor in India where these kind of roles are not what will make you a star.
Yeah.
Because this film, Omkara, Kalakandi, which are all dark comedies, and I think Saif himself loves dark comedies and likes playing these
He just
dark.
likes absurd roles because
Exactly.
he's such a voracious reader. So I can assume how badly he must want to explore himself as an actor.
So I think we lost out on that career version of a multiverse alternate career of Saif. So basically what I'm trying to get at is I think him playing villain in Adipurush will totally work. And it'll be a classic, is what I've...
Saif gave such a great performance in that Lux Cozy Chaddi ad. Do you remember? Do you remember?
Was he a
him?
dark character in
No,
that?
no,
I wish
he wasn't.
I wish I'd seen it now.
You don't. Oh man, you don't
Saif in
remember
a
that
chaddi
ad?
ad, I'm all on board. Yeah.
That. Oh my God! Everybody was talking. Sorry.
No, Urjita, you seem
Everybody
to
was-
be the only
Wait,
one.
no, remind me. This is
Dude,
interesting.
because of that ad, the Pungi song was made.
Really?
Pungi song
no
got
way.
inspired. So can I show that ad to you?
Sure.
Oh my God, let's do it.
So उसमें basically क्या हो रहा है कि रेस हो रही है and then suddenly slow motion में सब चले जाता है except for Saif. So Saif is like just like dilly dallying and he's dancing और la ऐसे dance कर करके वो जा रहा है and then of course he wins the race because everybody is in slow motion other than him. It was such a great ad. I don't know guys if you
I have no memory of this.
This is
yeah, and you see, once you watch that ad, no, then you will understand why Pungi and that. Yeah, you have seen that ad. You will see. Not Karan.
Yeah.
I'm pointing out to our
Yash.
producer. Yash. So once
Okay, I just YouTubed Lux Cozy ad Saif,
yeah.
and it's for some reason showing me ads with Jacqueline Fernandez in them.
Hey,
I
yaar.
don't know why. And one with Varun Dhawan and Yukti.
yeah. Varun's got a lot of Lux cozy ads.
One of those Jacqueline Fernandez ads look very classy. It's like in black and white and stuff.
This is not what I thought we'd be talking about when we talked about Hasina
We'll
Thi,
get
but
back
I'm on
to
board. I'm on
ad,
board.
but I am very curious now
We need to know.
about because I have no memory
Man,
of this.
fuck, why? It was Lux only, no, guys.
Was it Rupa by any chance? I feel
It
like
could
it
have
was
been Rupa
Rupa.
Banyan.
I feel like it was Rupa.
Your
So just-
Banyan lore is
Wait,
incorrect.
I am YouTubing Saif underwear.
Well, that might get some interesting results, this is relevant because I was just going to say that this is more importantly than what you were saying is the start of sexy Saif for me. Like, hot Saif.
Right.
Like
Daddy
before it was-
Saif.
Yeah, before he was like cute boy Saif, like Rohit and Sameer and all that
Right.
Saif. But this is like, oh yeah, he's also like this with the stubble and that look. And
Yeah. So
I feel like
you
it's the beginning of
wrote a
that.
post on Langda Tyagi.
I
which
did,
he
I did.
played on
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Omkara. This is not an Omkara episode though, but what from that performance stood out to you about Saif? Because I think that for me is the best Saif performance
Yeah,
of all time.
It is. I think it's so tricky because actually now I can tell you, oh, this performance of Saif is great. But when I'm watching the movie,
Mhm.
you're so immersed in his performance because it feels like you just have this like stress, like, oh God, why are you listening to him? He's clearly evil. He's
Right.
such a convincing performance
Yeah.
Right.
that the immersion is insane with it. Like this, the anxiety that you feel. Because what I had written was like, he is the manifestation of your anxiety. All the worst thoughts in your brain about yourself. He is like that personified.
Mm.
And the thing is that he's not telling anything that you don't already know.
Yeah, that you don't already think. That
Yeah,
you,
you don't
yeah.
already think.
you're
Yeah.
not already. You already have these insecurities, and he's bringing it to light.
Right,
And it's
right.
such
Yeah.
a great. It is one of the all-time performances.
Yeah.
for me.
Oh.
Okay, our producer is
No, it's not this ad. It's the ad where he's running.
it's not this Lux Cozy ad. He's done multiple Lux Cozy ads.
Yeah.
Oh, Saif in a hat, by the way. This is.
Which one is it?
Amul Macho.
Amul
Okay,
Macho.
Amul
Amul Macho.
Saif
Okay.
race.
Wow.
Amul Macho
Saif
Saif race.
Another addition to the sexy
Yeah,
Saif era
yeah.
race.
Yeah.
That was a good run.
Wait, I want
See,
to
I got
understand
the
your train of
product
thought,
right.
Urjita. How did you think of this while we were talking about Saif in negative roles?
Negative. I was talking about how people have used Saif's eccentricities where they
Ah.
could. Because I remember wo jo ad
And
thi.
that's the prime example you thought of.
Yeah.
But I
Like
think it's
the Amul
relevant
Macho.
because see, this is also a Sriram Raghavan movie. The
Oh, I thought for a second it was like that ad was also directed by Sri Ram.
No.
Raghavan.
But Pungi is from.
Okay, wait, Maitri
found
has.
it?
I
Okay.
found it, but I found it in a meme template.
It's okay.
So it's like a Google thing where why was it when
Yeah.
so this
yes.
one.
Let me
You
see
don't
that.
remember
What?
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, you will be
wow.
seeing this on the screen somewhere.
Yeah,
So
that's fun.
Yeah.
So,
Great
now I
job,
remember.
Mehndi. Love you very much. Thank you for proving me right.
No, but what I was saying is that
Yeah.
that clip
Hmm.
that then inspired Pungi, like you're
Yeah.
saying, that's also a Sriram Raghavan directed movie, right? Agent Vinod. isn't
Agent
that
Vinod,
also-
yeah.
So weirdly, that is connected.
Oh.
Yeah.
That one misfire that Sri Ram Raghavan had. But
Mm.
so I have weirdly not watched the film Agent Vinod,
I've also not seen it.
but I've read the comic book spin-off that was also, I think, written by Sri Ram Raghavan. And that was really cool. So that was like a really weird, rare merchandise, Bollywood film merchandise, which actually really was really cool.
Yeah.
I want to talk about.
Uday Chopra also had a comic book.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What was it called?
Man.
So I don't remember उसमें क्या था exactly, but it had Hrithik Roshan and Abhishek Bachchan as characters.
That's just their childhood. They used to hang out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, he had this comic book, and I think it was on sale at some point, but then it's not anymore.
Okay, that link has to be in the description, right? We have to find
Yeah,
it somewhere.
Maitri, please find it and put it in.
Search it now.
मैत्री will be like, मैं को कोई बोतल से निकला हुआ भूत हूँ जो काम पे काम दिया जा रहा है.
Hey, different episode, okay? You know which other movie had a comic book? Drona. Drona had a
Yeah,
comic book.
all bad movies.
Hey man. He
Like,
tried. Okay.
just to
Abhishek was
just to
trying
say
his
the
best.
book is better than the movie.
I'm sure even Krish had a comic book.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Krish
So-
4 is coming, by the way.
Oh really?
Yeah, as in
Okay,
like,
but okay. Here's my. This is a separate tangent. I'm
That's
going to go
okay.
off. But Krish, why is there a Krish 3 and no Krish 2? And there's a
Because,
Krish and there's a Krish 3, right? What's up, guys? What's going on? Can we investigate?
Because Krish was Koi Mil Gaya 2.
But then it should be Koi Mil Gaya 3, right?
No. So you know Rakesh Roshan is big on numerology, right?
Yeah. Well,
That's why some, his
Hrithik
numerologist was
Roshan.
like, "नहीं, 2 डालोगे तो picture नहीं चलेगी." So then he was like Krish 3.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, that's the
yeah,
logical
but
reason.
Guess how many thumbs Hrithik has on one hand.
What?
I don't.
Which hand are we talking about?
This feels like a
Right
trick
hand.
question, no?
He has 2 thumbs.
yeah, I
though, so
know.
like 2, as like that's
Ah.
2. That's.
I just thought you were being insensitive to Hrithik Roshan for a second. I just thought you were like, oh man,
I
man.
feel like if you have the body of a Greek god
that's
and
yeah,
eyes also of a Greek god, then it's okay for people to make fun of your finger.
yeah.
True.
I think
yeah,
it's
fair enough.
Yeah, fair.
Nobody will go against that.
Yeah.
But Karan, you want to talk about a particular scene in the film?
Yeah.
What
The-
was the scene and why do you think it's important?
So there's like a scene where they're sitting in her apartment
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, let's play a game.
Right. This is the early part of the film.
Early part of
Yeah,
the film, and he's just come back from some trip. She doesn't know what he's up to, whatever. And he's like, we'll ask each other 5 questions, and we'll only lie. You're not allowed to tell the truth. And it's this great scene where, like, because of who Saif is and of how much he lies, it is like you don't know if he's telling the truth or not. But his face kind of conveys this thing, where she asks him like, "Do you love me?" And he's like, and the no that he says is so cold that you know that he's saying the truth in that moment.
Right.
And then in the end, he does that really creepy thing where he's like, "Can I stay over?" And he's like, "That was the 6th question." Haha, gotcha. But I just think that scene informs the rest of the film
Right.
because even at the end, when he's like, "Paise kahan hai?" That's also the same question answer scene, and she's
Yes.
lying to him this time. So it's quite like a fun twist on that, where she's like, "Ha, maine jala diya," and she hasn't. She's just playing the same game, and the entire film is based on trust and
Yeah.
lying, and like that kind of sets the precedent of it.
And again, the movie has another comparison. So in the court, when she says that I am guilty, and the judge says, "Okay, fine," and she's like, "Oh no, what the fuck? No."
Right.
And she feels cheated. Saif feels the same way when she lies, when basically she tricks him.
Yeah.
So I feel like because he's also saying the same things that Urmila had said back then. So कि नहीं ये झूठ बोल रही है, आप पूछिए इससे, नहीं इसने बताया था मुझे. But yeah, that I feel like that was poetic justice.
Yeah, it was quite a good mirroring, and I think Saif spoke about this scene, and I think Ram Gopal Verma spoke to him about this scene in particular, saying like he's the type of guy, this character, that he says something and then he waits to see what effect it has on you. And it's the most evident in the scene because he's like asking her these questions and then he's waiting to see how she reacts to it to gauge. I think maybe that's where he decides that he might do this.
Right. Maybe. Yeah.
So I think like it's a very pivotal moment in the film.
Yeah. But also speaking of comparisons, this is something that Sriram Raghavan mentioned in the interview. That वो climax जो था, it was not supposed to happen this way. She was actually supposed to take him like some 200
into a mine,
into
basically.
a mine, yeah.
So in a version of the film, it was established that Urmila's character's dad owns a mine, and that's why she's very familiar with this going down a mine or whatever. And then they would they had planned that that's what the climax was going to be. She'll just leave him in the mine and then go up. But they saw a mine and they found it really cool to shoot in, but they were just confused about how do we get a crew in to shoot the
makes
whole
sense.
thing. Yeah.
Exactly. So then they were just wandering around and then they saw a cave and they were like, actually, what if we shoot it inside a cave and we introduce the mice element?
You know
'Cause
where that
has
cave
been-
is? Kharghar.
Kharghar, yes.
Which is still a cave.
Wow.
Sorry, no offense to people watching
Yeah.
this in Kharghar.
And also another fun fact. So the writer of the movie Pooja. So after, by the way, the whole story is Pooja's story.
Yes, yeah.
And I love how Sriram Raghavan in every interview has mentioned that, by
Credits
the way,
her.
this is
Yeah,
not my story.
yeah.
This is her story. And not her actual story, but not a
That would be
biopic
really
or
sad.
something. So
Hey, you never know.
actually, yeah, you never know, because you never see Pooja in any interview. She's trying to hide her identity. Sorry, no, I don't. It was a joke, Pooja, ma'am. I'm sorry. Assistant rakh lo mujhe. Anyway, but so after the movie, they got, of course, many fans were like, oh my god, the movie is amazing. Many women came up to Pooja and said, oh my god, this movie is amazing. By the way, where is that cave?
Yeah,
We
where's
want to
that
send
cave?
somebody.
We have like some plans. Just a friend,
Yeah.
friend
Just
of
want
ours.
to go see where the film was
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah.
Who's that in your car? No, just don't worry about it. Fine.
Okay, I want to talk about the prison break scene. I
Mm.
think it's very well shot for
Yeah.
I think I might be wrong, but I think it's almost shot like a one take where it's a top down shot and they show the whole crowd gathering together
Yeah.
and then it goes around and then the inmates also sort of mingle with the crowd
Yeah.
and escape.
Hmm.
And then the third act, I mean, one of the reasons why I thought it was a little off-putting for me, not off-putting, but not as impressive as the first half of the film is, I think then it becomes like your typical Ram Gopal Verma gangster flick. Like an
Yeah.
Untitled Chapter or something, right? Where it's just you're watching gangsters take each other out and fighting
Yeah.
amongst each other.
But also like a lot of, I feel like I call it like the hotel portion of this film.
Right.
Like that 15, 20
Yeah,
minutes
yeah.
where like all that happens is this long montage of like Urmila waiting. She gets the room there. She watches him. She follows him. She watches him. She follows him. And we're doing this on a loop for a while. And I'm like, okay, what is her plan? What are we doing here? What are we waiting
Yeah.
for?
Right.
That portion of the film is where it kind of drags down. I felt like, because when she left, it was like, oh my god, what is she gonna do? She kills Kamlesh, like, oh my god, this is incredible. What is she gonna do next? Yeah, we're gonna wait in a hotel for a bit.
Yeah.
Then you're like, okay,
Yeah.
it needed more ramping up
Correct.
instead of like a cool down period,
Yeah.
which is what happened.
Right.
Yeah. Like I needed her to fuck him up even more.
What was
Which
her
brings
plan,
me-
though?
Which brings me to the last scene. Let's go back to that. We didn't see Hindi films, still don't see Hindi films ending that violently
Yeah.
in these days.
Yeah.
What was her plan? I think just to get back at him.
But at what, like, get back at him, I get, but
Right.
what was that waiting for? Like, that part where she's just kind of following him around, what was she hoping would happen? Like, that fell into her lap, right? The thing where he goes over to the house and then she realizes, oh, there's money involved and all these things. So that fell into her lap. It wasn't something she knew.
So, to just bring it back to the mine thing, when the mine thing, original ending was in the mine and they wanted to end it in a cave, Sri Ram Raghavan brought this up to Ram Gopal Verma, why don't we end it this way? Or was it the other way around? Ram Gopal Verma suggested to Sri Ram Raghavan, let's end it this way. And Sri Ram Raghavan said that why would she just randomly find a cave with full of rats where she would leave the guy? And then Ram Gopal Verma's response was in that scenario, emotion will trump logic for the audience.
Yeah.
So I think that is the answer where I think it all comes down to, because
Yeah.
Honestly,
way-
I didn't question the
Exactly.
mice because I'm like, हाँ होते ही है, Batman
Deserves
में
it.
देखा है हमने, bat भी रहता है, mice भी रहते हैं, और क्या रहेंगे ना?
yeah.
So
So I think, yeah, we can sit and think of what she was planning or whatever, but I don't think that part of the movie is as fleshed out because it just ends in such a gloriously violent way
Yeah.
that we are all just like.
and also
fuck
like
this
it
shit.
makes sense for her to not have a plan because remember she's not actually a murderer. She's just somebody who wants to like
Get
take
back.
revenge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So honestly,
Fair.
like see logically it makes sense, but like because as for me emotion always trumps over
Yeah,
logic
of course.
in general also. So, but which is why I just wanted her to have a plan. Because like even when you watch, I don't know if you have seen this movie called Kabil, Hrithik Roshan's
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
Bad movie.
Where he becomes a
haven't.
superhero in the
But
second half.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
That's Krish.
So in Kabul also this guy, he's visually challenged, but the moment his wife is wronged, he just comes up with a plan and this fucking visually challenged guy is fucking around with
Hrithik is
the...
playing a visually challenged
Yeah,
guy?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so he's just shown fucking around with these the villains in a never seen before way. कि मतलब he just seems to everything is working in Hrithik's favor.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
उसका
yeah.
सब वो कठपुतली की तरह खेल रहा है. So I am saying the movie is bad, but not because of that.
Right.
But I feel like वैसा कुछ अगर यहाँ पे थोड़ा होता जिसमें मतलब maybe प्रमिला की वजह से उसको अंडरवर्ल्ड का पूरा ज्ञान मिलता वो काफी अंडरवर्ल्ड का समथिंग कुछ बन जाती
But this is a full-fledged genre in Hollywood. It's called the revenge flick,
Yeah.
where there is a series of like I think B-grade films from the 80s and 90s, and they're still made, where a woman gets gang raped in the first half, and then the second half is just her killing every single person. who
Kill
raped
Bill
her.
and that kind of.
in an even that was Tarantino's way of paying homage to that,
Yeah.
killing each person more violently than the
Tarantino's way of
last.
paying homage to B-grade movies.
To B-grade movies, yeah. He is on
Yeah,
record
yeah.
saying
He's
that
a big
he
fan
loves
of- yeah,
B-grade
yeah.
films. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We didn't mention Rasika Joshi. She also plays this very domineering woman in the jail who's like the bhai of the jail
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
And she is the gangster, and I couldn't recognize her first of all.
Yeah.
It just so happens that Prime shows you the cast list of people who are in the scene, and it showed Rasika Joshi and her photo
Karan.
from
Yeah.
from Bhool Bhulaiya.
From Bhool
So I was like, oh
Bhulaiya,
shit,
yes.
it's the same actress.
Yeah. So Rasika Joshi, for those of you who don't remember, she's the Bua in Bhool Bhulaiya.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
She
And I
calls
was-
Urmila Apsara talkies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kaun hai Apsara Talkies?
Which is like I don't want to say top tier like cat call, but holy shit. I was like, that is upsetting. And
upsetting, but also
But
like
also so-
the
A
moment
compliment,
you hear it,
kinda.
you like
Yeah.
makes sense.
you put it like,
Yeah.
who says that ever? It
Yeah,
was great.
and
It
like
was great.
as a girl, I was like, मुझे भी कोई बोला है अप्सरा टॉकीज मैं मना नहीं करूँगी.
Okay.
Wow, this has gone somewhere else.
What other monuments would you like to be called as? Like, I don't know.
Natraj dancer.
Oh my God.
Is Rang Bhavan okay? Like if someone calls you a Rang Bhavan, I don't know.
What's
I'm just-
Rang Bhavan?
It's a venue, very famous performance
Okay.
venue.
नहीं, I thought we were mentioning pencils. Apsara Natraj.
H1B.
अच्छा.
Urjita,
That's
you
a
want to-
virus, huh?
Oh really? Oh fuck.
Yeah.
What was the pencil number? Something 1B, 2,
Yeah.
2B, 2B,
2B.
2B or not 2B. We'll cut this part out.
नहीं नहीं ये तो रखो. Thumbnail में रखो.
You wanted to talk about female characters in RGV movies.
Yeah. So first of all, RGV की movies में I feel like उसकी movies में female characters को इतना सही role होता है ना. I feel like he was this close to understanding the female gaze. He was
But he
this
didn't?
close. He didn't.
Really?
He doesn't.
You're
come
telling me
close.
that cop film that's coming out of his, which is like, how did he promote it? I'm scared to even say it, you know.
I don't know how he promoted that, but
the
last
one where is licking her feet.
feed,
no.
yeah, that's the guy you're saying got the female gaze.
Yeah. No. See, I'm obviously
Oh,
like
no.
here I'm
Oh, you put
The
the,
guy-
vision in my
yeah.
head again.
see here I'm separating the art from the
Right,
artist
as
right
you
now.
should probably.
Oh God,
Because
okay.
see, imagine like in a world where just directors are just making movies from the male gaze. Some male character
Okay.
everything. यहाँ पे
I have
मतलब-
a version of that, but go ahead.
yeah, and
complete
so
your point.
even if you're making a movie where the female where the actress is the main protagonist,
You mean to say
it
the
will-
guy whose autobiography is called Guns and Thighs got the female gaze?
Oh God.
I said he was this close. ये हंस रहा है मेरे पे. ये क्या ये अलग लेवल बुली है.
No, sorry, complete your point.
It's like तुम्हें ये लग मुझे वो suddenly I feel like करीना कपूर's child version from कभी खुशी कभी गम.
Oh
where she
my
gets
God.
bullied by the ICSC people.
Holy shit.
Wow, you made me a Chandni Chowk boy. Okay.
I love that there's a Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum reference on in Ek
Yeah.
Hasina. It's great. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Wait, but you got it ulta. They bully the fat kid.
No, they first bully her.
Oh yes, and then she gets bullied and she cries.
Yeah. That's why.
Yeah. Sorry,
So,
complete your
yeah.
point.
So तो I feel like he was just उसने इतने ज़्यादा सही roles लिखे हैं ना, and also हर एक रोल में लड़की बेचारी नहीं होती है.
Correct. Yeah.
Like that
That's
bichari is not, of course she's bichari at some point, but she's not, that is not her personality.
Yeah.
And also at no point do you see like ki, oh, this woman being morally right. Like she's not getting rewarded for being morally right anywhere.
Yeah.
Flawed
She-
characters.
For
Like I think
flawed
he's very good
character,
at
yeah.
writing flawed women, which is what you want.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
want like right now. There's that trend that started, which is like let's write a woman as someone that's fighting, and she's like completely pure. She's fighting the system. She's like ladkiyan bhi karti hain, you know, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then there's no substance to it. But here it's like no, she's gonna do unhinged things, and that's fine. You know,
Yeah.
which is
But
great.
that's also the case in Con, right? I mean,
Yeah.
spoiler alert for Con. We've spoiled that movie before also on this show, but she ends up being the woman, ends up being the killer.
What?
Yeah. Sorry,
Abbas,
Karan.
God, I was waiting. Year 20 of con.
But yeah, the girl who we think is the victim all along turns out to
Yeah.
be the killer there.
Yeah.
And Rohan Joshi pointed this out in the Bhoot episode that in the scene where Urmila is on the bed possessed, there's the women protecting her and the men who are watching from the outside.
Yes.
So definitely there's something there. I mean,
Feminist icon Ram Gopal Verma. That's what we're saying.
I wouldn't
It's on
go
record.
so far as to say that, but you're just putting words in my mouth. Man. I literally
Also-
said he was this close to
I
understanding
agree,
the
I
female
I
agree.
agree.
gaze,
Even
yeah.
I agree.
we spoke about the
Like,
Shefali Chaya character in Satya.
Exactly.
Also,
And also like it's not. I feel like he's one of those boys who's like वो
Boys?
छाती men one of those men who वो छाती पीट के नहीं बोलेगा मैं ally है मैं feminist है. But
he
it's
just
like
licks the feet.
I want to bring something up so we can move on from Ram Gopal Verma licking feet. Anything, right? Anything to move on from that. But
He's
what I
made
wanna-
a lesbian film, by the way, just putting
Yeah,
it
I
out
know. Oh God. So there, in this movie, I just
Yeah.
noticed while we were talking about this,
there.
the thing that Urmila goes in for is like some smuggling, maybe like money laundering,
Yeah.
whatever they're
Yeah,
accused of. To get herself out of that, what she does is murder people. Like people in this movie, to prove their innocence, do more messed up things. Like Saif Ali Khan is killing people while he's saying, "Maine usko nahi mara." He's killed 7 other people. But
Right.
this movie has a trend of that. Like Urmila goes and kills that cop instead of, which is so unhinged. Like
But
now
then
her
that's-
jail sentence is
That's
way more.
exactly. The idea is she's already spent time in jail for something she didn't do.
So she doesn't care at this point.
Which brings me to the very last scene. So we have the rat in the cave scene. And then we see Urmila standing in a place somewhere and she sees two women passing by. I think it's the officer and another prisoner. And what's implied there? She's back in jail or is she just visiting someone?
So I googled it and it is to imply that she takes blame for all the murders she has done and she's back in jail.
Okay.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
So
Okay,
then
fine.
there's accountability to that. then.
Now that prison
The
sentence
murders.
is way longer, by the way. Before it was
Yeah.
like 7 years. Now
Yeah.
it's different.
And I never understood why anybody would do that. मैं
Take
तो नहीं
blame?
करती.
Take blame for murder?
Yeah, I would never do that. Are you
Okay,
mad?
Urjita.
I'll
Is-
never do that.
Isn't this based on a book? There's like a Sidney Sheldon book apparently.
I forgot the name of the book.
And in that, then she becomes like a con artist after. Like it's a bunch of books,
okay.
and so
Right.
it ends with her continuing what Saif was doing
Mm-hmm.
in his name. I don't know why.
Is it that book where ultimately end में पता चलता है कि her husband was behind everything and he just wanted her to be toughened up?
No,
It's
I
not
don't know.
that, okay.
I wanted to seem like I read books, so I said that.
No, I've read
And
one
now that
Sid-
you've caught me in this lie from my Wikipedia readings.
Wow. I was trying to wonder मैंने बचपन में पढ़े थे ये तो याद ही नहीं आ रहा
I've read a
किसी
couple
में.
Sidney Sheldon books.
Yeah,
That does
I've
sound
read
like
one
his.
called The Sky is Falling. What's it? Maitri's found it out.
I think it's If Tomorrow Comes.
If tomorrow,
Tomorrow
comes. Is if tomorrow comes or if tomorrow never comes?
That's
Oh.
Tomorrow Never Dies, which is
A Bond
James
film.
Bond. Yeah.
Yeah. And also Double Jeopardy, I think. Jeopardy, the film, it borrows elements from that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is Sriram Raghavan's debut feature. And anything else you guys want to add before we go to the rewatchability
So a
scale?
really good dialogue that I liked.
Yeah.
शेर हर एक के अंदर होता है बस उंगली करने वाला चाहिए.
Why didn't we use this in the beginning? शेर हर एक के अंदर शेर हर एक के अंदर होता है बस पॉडकास्ट करने वाला चाहिए.
क्या? Sorry.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
शेर हर एक के अंदर होता है बस
Who
उंगली
says
करने
this?
वाला चाहिए. और प्रमिला.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I also like that Zakir Hussain line where he's like, कितने दिन लगेंगे? He's like 15-20 दिन लगेंगे. 15 या 20. And he says 20. And he's like, देख मैं 20 दिन तक तुझे फोन नहीं करूंगा. 20 दिन के बाद भी फोन नहीं
Oh.
करूंगा. That was-
Yeah.
I love in this movie that like there's a phone call acting in this. There's a lot of like people just pick up the phone and don't say hi hello. They just go एक घंटे में call करना. You know, it's like very there's a lot of phone call acting.
And
in
also
this.
like do you remember the scene where this guy somebody I don't remember who is beating up whom but background में phone बज रहा है persistently.
Right.
I just remember that and I thought कि अच्छा आगे क्या होगा but then I realized it was just to create tension.
Bilal, I think when he goes to kill Bilal.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a
Background
phone
में
ringing.
phone बज रहा है constantly. Like and ऐसा भी नहीं कि टर्न constant नहीं बजा फिर बंद हुआ बजा फिर बंद हुआ. It is just to create tension.
I just had a realization like I think so. Part of my thing was I don't know what Saif does. What is this thing? What is he into?
You
what
are
is he-
just really
but-
focused
He had a
on his
realization.
career.
But in the I think the point is that we don't know because we're seeing it from Urmila's point of view.
Yeah.
So it's like an outsider seeing all this being talked about. She doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So we're not supposed to
Yeah.
know. And there's not. For
But I
once
don't
it's
believe
not-
that because the first thing you ask someone when you start dating before dating, what do you do?
He says stocks, shares, and sex. That's his answer.
Yeah. Like
And
sex,
she's like,
drugs,
yeah,
and
cool.
rock and roll. It's like, yeah, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've noticed that this has happened in many movies where if the guy, if he genuinely has some shady business going on, he would use either stocks or import-export. This has happened in Jannat also, if you remember.
Import-export ka business.
Jannat,
Yeah.
Blood Diamond.
Jannat and Blood Diamond. One's an Oscar-winning film, the other one has DiCaprio in it. It's fine. It's cool. It's the same.
I like that one action scene, since you mentioned the phone ringing, where the woman Saif
She gets
is with,
killed.
yeah, she's yelling and the killing scene is very artfully done.
That
where,
angle was crazy.
yeah, you see her in the
Yeah.
mirror, and they are fighting, and then the gun goes off, and you just see a splatter of blood on the mirror.
I kind of
That's
wish
pretty
Saif wasn't such a good fighter. I was like, this doesn't seem like his character because he's very like, he beats them up quite easily. He
But
doesn't
I-
seem like a character that knows how to do that. He talks his way out of things, right? His thing is that his
Yeah.
word is what works.
But
So,
he's the complete package, no? He's like.
I mean, he is that,
Yeah.
you know, I've always said that about Saif. Personally.
Also, this is a film from the early 2000s because when Saif comes over to Urmila's place, he's like, cell phone charger hai.
Oh,
It's like,
yeah.
the good old days where you just had to ask for a cell phone charger.
He didn't look like
Yeah.
a cell phone charger
It
nowadays.
looked like my laptop
Yeah,
charger.
yeah. It was quite a heavy duty.
Those
thing.
were the days,
Yeah.
guys. I've been there. I was there. Anything else you want to bring up, Karan? You have like 3 pages
I have all these
worth
notes,
of notes.
but because it's got like random. I think I told you this. I've got in quotes, "I want to kiss you." Written.
Yeah. Okay, Karan. We'll do it after the show.
Abbas, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make this public here right now. But you're used to people now, like, you know.
Oh, you've
Yeah.
seen the Samira Reddy
I've
episode,
seen it.
guys.
I've seen it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, people want to touch your head. People want to
This
kiss
is the
you.
thing.
Please come.
Yeah,
My head is
please.
all yours.
This is not what. But basically, that scene is. You know what?
No, please go ahead.
No, but I just think
Choice
that,
of words.
I just don't know how he came up with. Like, how did he just say that and be like, yeah, it's fine. If I just say I want to kiss you, like, how is that smooth, dude? Like, you're in the. He's supposed to be the smooth person.
No, because I get it. He's also weird and eccentric. That's why she's so offended by him in the beginning.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's...
Trust your
You know?
instinct.
Yeah.
You know.
and I think it's... I don't know. I mean, I'm speaking from... So, I'm imagining if Saif said that to me, part of me would be like, what the fuck, dude? But another part of me would be like, it's kind of hot. You know, you just want to
Yeah.
get to the point.
Another part of you would be like, okay.
Oh man, I wish Saif said that to me. Anyway,
Yeah.
That's,
I don't know why both the men on this podcast are getting so turned on by Saif Ali Khan.
Saif
And Urjita's like, whatever, uncle.
I never said uncle.
I do want to end on this point, which is a very self-serving point.
Yes.
Is that his name is Karan?
Self-serving, you mean?
Self-serving.
Yes. Why did we bring that
His
up?
name is Karan.
His name is Karan in the
And I
film.
think that's cool. It's
Which
it's a
is-
good addition to the Karan era.
No
of films.
offense to you, but it's the perfect fuckboy name.
It is, and it's
Yeah.
he's perfectly cast as a. I would like to.
जो लड़के खुद से बोलते हैं ना होगा मैं फकबा वो नहीं होते
That's true.
Hey, I'm also a fucker. Guys, what are you saying? Don't.
But were you going to mention other memorable Karans in Bollywood?
Oh no! I mean, the other one that we talked about,
Johar?
Karan Johar,
Yeah,
the big,
yeah.
you know, him and me, same thing. And Lakshmi, the Ritik's name is Karan, which
Okay.
is cool. Karan Arjun, Karan obviously.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which one is Karan in Karan Arjun? Is it Shahrukh or
I hope it's
Salman?
Shahrukh, right? Hopefully.
Yeah.
Right? Do I
भाग
get Shahrukh?
भाग अर्जुन भाग
I think they switch.
yeah Karan is
Shahrukh?
Shahrukh yeah
They
yeah
switch?
Yes.
Doesn't the name
No,
switch
they
or something?
don't.
No. As in their names are different when they're reborn.
No,
the,
no,
the
they're not.
switch is Ajnabi
Oh, sorry. That's so my bad.
okay I wanted to talk about Ek
Yeah.
Hasina Thi the title I forgot
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
sorry
Yeah.
so this I read somewhere that Ek Hasina Thi the title is very special because that is how Saif would think about Urmila कि हाँ कोई एक लड़की थी
right,
they always thought of her in hindsight कि because the reason why he chose her for the job is because he never thought she would fight back
Correct.
which is why when he found out that she has ran out of the prison even then he's not worried he genuinely doesn't think that she would come after him
He's like, good for her.
good for
Hey,
her
man.
Yeah.
Hey, good.
Yeah.
Good
It was
for her.
so
Yeah.
casual. It was amazing. Yeah.
yeah
Very fuckboy thing to do.
yeah he genuinely treated
Yeah,
her like a
Karan.
freelance gig.
God.
And then
Smiling and saying yeah
And then Urmila was in the remake of Curse, where the song Ek Hasina Thi was filmed on her. So
Great
Yeah.
film, by the way. You should
Yeah.
definitely watch that.
definitely
one.
watch it. Karan's
Curse.
recommendation, not ours.
Curse.
So yeah,
You got-
Curse.
you gotta get
It's Karan's recommendation. But yeah, that I really liked. So basically, this is the first time that we have a guest who we both of us are meeting for the first time, and we.
Oh, I was meeting Samira Reddy also for the first time when she
I
came
know,
to
but
our
That's
Samira
what I'm saying.
Reddy is a public figure,
Okay.
actress वगैरह
Yeah,
है.
same
ये
level
वो.
of star power. You said
So-
it. I didn't say it.
Okay.
So yeah. So and I mentioned this to him also. Okay, this is the first time that we are meeting somebody. ऐसे पूरा stranger ये जो हमारे लिए. And then 2 minutes silence, and I was like, in a way, we could be saffing each other.
We could be.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
if I'm not who I say I am?
Yeah, exactly.
Is a friend gonna show up and then leave a bag,
Leave a bag.
and
Yeah.
leave?
Yeah.
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 They totally can actually. Yeah, we'll keep it here.
We'll keep it here.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, but I've noticed this in many prison movies that if or even gangster movies that if one person is harassing an innocent guy or girl, so automatically the others they show sympathy to this person. Like you can't have 3-4 people bully you at the same time. It's like if one person is bullying you, then other people will ultimately come around. So
True.
It's interesting you mentioned the prison stuff because in the I feel like there's like rom-com tropes in this movie, right? Like the charming guy
Yeah.
who's actually kind of creepy. I also think it had the makeover trope, which is that Urmila like cuts her hair and now she's a bad girl. And I was like,
So that's also a misdirection because I think they're leading us to believe that she's going to commit suicide by cutting her, her neck off.
Really?
That's
I
the
didn't
sense I
think
got.
that,
That's
yeah.
why they put very, it's framed very like purposely that way.
with her back to the
Yeah,
camera.
where you don't see where the blade is going, and then you see the
Really?
hair falling on the ground. So you're like, okay, she's not killing herself. She's
I
actually.
didn't think that. I'll tell you why. Because Urmila ka revenge wala streak. This is a question. Urmila ka revenge wala streak for the first time कौन से scene में दिखाई देता है?
when she hugs Saif
Yes.
and her
yes.
eyes change.
Yeah.
She does that
Yes.
Urmila eyes thing, you
Yeah.
know?
Yes.
You know that
yes.
like her head tilts a little always.
Yeah.
Sure, that's the scene where I think she's aware of that she's being
But
she's
her,
been
but
framed.
her nostrils are flared, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
she's
but for me,
mad at him.
it's the one where she kills the rat. That's the one where like okay,
तुम्हारे
she's decided to
लिए-
kill the guy.
तुम्हारे लिए काफी लेट आया फिर वो उसके जब
Fine, guys.
crazy eyes उसने किए थे I knew that now she's going to take
she did
revenge.
the Urmila and Bhoot eyes a little bit, you know? I was like,
Yeah.
oh, we're in now. We're starting.
Yeah.
Which brings me to my final point. If you want to do a triple feature, do Kaun Bhoot Ek Hasina Thi,
Hmm.
the
Oh, so fun.
ultimate Urmila Matondkar
UCU.
DVD
Yeah,
box set.
yeah.
Even though we don't.
Ultimate night out movie plan.
Yeah,
just watch
totally.
3 movies. But
Yeah.
by the way,
Off the record?
off topic.
Yeah.
Off topic. But like night out में कभी भी कोई एक मूवी के ऊपर देख पाता है क्या? I've never seen. हम भी बहुत डिसाइड करते 3 मूवी देखेंगे. It's always
हाँ.
but barely we finish one movie.
Doesn't
You see,
happen.
Urjita, cinephiles like me sometimes watch the Godfather trilogy, together, or the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
I watched
together.
Too Hot to Handle, so,
Yeah.
same thing. Godfather, Too Hot to
Yeah.
Handle. That's the-
I don't know when
Night out.
non-cinephiles like you watch whatever Chup Chup Ke or whatever you want to watch.
Wow.
Okay, I think we've spent enough time. Thank you, Karan,
Yeah.
for taking out your time. Let's do the rewatchability scale. So, Karan, you've seen the show.
Yeah.
The rewatchability scale is 1 being it's a product of its time, hasn't aged well. 10 being, oh my god, I find something new every time I watch it. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much would you rate Ek Hasina Thi?
Yeah, man, it's tricky, right? Because if I was just talking about the first half, if I was just talking about like everything till the hotel dross, it would be like a 9. But I think it's like 7.5, 8, something
Okay.
like that, around that.
7.5 or 8?
I'm gonna because I'm a positive person.
Oh God.
I have to. I think I'll give it an 8. A couple of points docked for that last stretch. I feel like that it loses me a little
Right.
bit, but it's still got so much excitement and so many different things and these
Yeah.
great characters that stays with you. And I feel like that's aged well in a great way. Where like
Correct.
I wish there was more of that now.
Yeah.
And it's a short film too. It's like under 2 hours.
No, it's 2 hours, 12 minutes, guys.
Okay, well,
She said 2:38. You're saying 100. Which version did I see?
it kind of flies by
Yeah.
basically,
Mhm.
and it's
Yeah,
one of those
yeah,
films
definitely.
where I wish they made more of that. We're
Yeah.
going back for some reason for like 3-hour films
Yeah,
again.
yeah, yeah.
Why is that happening? Can we stop? So I think
where are people getting so much time from?
I know, right? Urjita,
Whatever.
for you, rewatchability scale?
8.
8.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's definitely I love the pacing.
Okay.
काफी सही था. I loved it. मैं फोन एक भी बार नहीं देखा मूवी देखते टाइम.
I've noticed that this is your way of like,
Yeah.
if I didn't
Yeah.
check my
Yeah.
phone, this
Yeah.
is a good film. So
I'd give it a solid 7.
I
I
almost
think-
did the solid thing, I forgot. I was going to do the solid thing. Oh, no.
I agree with Karan. I think the first 45 minutes, I think, like I said, vibes.
Yeah.
Bro, I also felt like, why aren't we making this kind of tense action, not action, tense thriller movies with big stars? But yeah, the prison section and the last act sort of was a downer until the ending. I think the ending is spectacular. But yeah, it's a 7. It holds up and it's aged well.
Just to make
But
like
yeah.
one, I keep saying one last point, but I keep going.
Go ahead.
But the idea of like 2003, 2004 is such a great just year.
Yeah, you were mentioning 2004 was a pivotal year.
I looked up, I don't know if it's a pivotal, I mean, maybe it's just nostalgia, right?
Right.
But I looked at all the films that they were making
Yeah.
at the time, and it's like every production house was doing what their bag was. It was like, what we're good at, we're going to do this really well. Like Veer Zara, Yash Raj does Veer Zara. That's like the top earning film
Right.
Yeah.
that year.
Yeah.
Then I think Hum Tum is also, one of the films that comes out. Aitraz, Abbas Mastan do Aitraz that year.
Yeah.
It's very like out there, ridiculous stuff that they do really well. And you
Kal
know,
Ho Na Ho.
Kal Ho Na Ho, I think Kal Ho Na is 2003.
2003, yeah,
But yeah, like that. And there are all these films where they're like, now what happens is something works and everyone wants to make that.
Yeah.
I feel like in that era, they were like, no, you're doing your thing, you're good at that, we're going to make our thing.
Right.
And it created this like very specific, these universes almost, like there's the RGV universe, Yash
Yeah,
Raj, there's
yeah,
Dharma,
yeah.
which is almost a great thing. I'm not saying everyone just make one type of film, which you're good at, but I think that's what the strength of that era was, is that they were very comfortable. Like I think Priyadarshan also has Halchal that comes out and
Yeah.
there are all these like, hey, this is what we're good at and we're going to release it. And it
Yeah.
creates
Yeah.
this great like range of films.
Yeah.
But I'm sure like even then we had directors and production houses who just wanted to copy stuff.
Oh God.
And
yeah.
it's just that because they were not good. That is why we don't remember those movies.
You're actually right. The
But,
best film nominees for the Filmfare Awards 2005, which is awarding 2004, Veer Zara, Dhoom, Hum Tum, Main Hoon Na, Swades, which are all like great films.
Shah Rukh, that was
Shah
2004
Rukh,
the
yeah.
year of Shah Rukh,
So
man.
Swades, Main Hoon Na, both big Shah Rukh films. Do you remember which film he won the best actor for?
Was it Veer Zara?
No, it was Swades.
Okay. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Normally a movie like Swades would be like best actor
Yeah,
for
correct.
critics.
Yes,
like that
yeah,
thing would be in
yeah.
there. That's cool.
But yeah,
Critics
Yuva also
had
came
a
out.
better attention
Yuva-
span.
Yeah, Yuva's that
Yuva
year
also
too.
came out 2004. So yeah, Mujhse Shaadi Karogi also came out 2004.
Hey man, the Nadia Wala, that era, that was a thing.
Khaki is a film we mentioned.
Khaki
also
is
came
another
out,
one.
kind of Amitabh's comeback.
So I just like that. I like that they were all doing very different films. So
Right.
it creates this. It's not like everyone's like one thing worked, let's all try to do it.
Right. All right, Karan, thank you for being on the episode, for taking out time and sharing your
Thank you
opinions
for
with
having
us.
me.
Anything you want to plug before we wrap up?
He came all the way from Pune, guys. Just
Gee.
Came all the way from
Yeah.
Pune, which I forgot to mention. We are doing a Sriram Raghavan movie, which has like every time there's a Pune reference, which is great.
But
He's
you
a-
know why that is, right?
Because
FTI.
FTI, yeah. So he loves Pune.
Yeah.
Andhadhun is like shot in Pune,
Yeah.
which is incredible. So yeah,
Which
feels-
reminds me, I forgot to mention. So another reason I've given it a 7 out of 10 is because I think Sriram Raghavan went on to make better films
Of
like
course,
Johnny Gadar,
yeah.
Badlapur,
Yeah, he did.
Andhadhun, all of them. So
Yeah,
as
yeah.
compared to those, it feels like I said, it's more stamp of RGV on this than
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
Sriram Raghavan.
Yeah.
But please plug your Instagram account.
Yeah, Instagram Karan_Mir if you want to follow weird reels or like I don't know random Bollywood content on there. Also, I used to do a podcast called Bad in Bollywood. It's no longer a thing, but if you want to listen to something where two dudes talk about random shit in bad quality, then you should.
And they've done 69 episodes. guys.
69
Yeah.
episodes. That was not deliberate at all. That was not a very childish thing to do.
Urjita, where can people follow you?
You guys can follow me on Instagram at @Urjitawani, and you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Urjitawani. Thank you.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Abbas Momin and AbbasMomin88 on Instagram. Thank you for watching us. We will take the leave of our YouTube viewers. The audio listeners get an additional segment called Alternate Endings. But thank you for watching. If you're still watching so far ahead of the episode, we'll see you all next week with a new film and a new guest. Until then, bye-bye.